We're going to check in with Doug Embledge this morning. How you doing, Norma?
I'm good.
You're
hanging in there, people. It's Friday, okay?
This week, without a voice for Norma, she's been a trooper. Anyway, I'll take it from here.
Is Norma okay?
I'm all right.
Is she all right?
I'm hanging in there, Doug.
Okay. I think she was upset because the principal of Thomas used to be her English teacher, and he reminded her earlier that she had a paper on the Lord of the Flies.
Hey, Doug, I have a quick question for you about what you're doing this morning. Okay, I understand. It's easy for me to come this weekend to Webster. They'll take a cotton swab to my cheek. I can get on the bone marrow registry. Simple enough. What happens, though, if I'm actually picked? Am I going to go through some painful stuff?
That's one of the questions we're going to answer right now. I'm glad you asked that. Kathy Costello is Christopher's mom, as in Christopher's Challenge, and since he received the transplant 10 years ago, she has been working along with the organization to answer questions like that. Holly asked the question, you go through the registry, you're chosen. Then what do you go through? What's the reality for people who actually get chosen as a donor?
There's a couple ways that the donor center may choose to take your bone marrow. Chris's donor actually had it taken through his hip. That was 10 years ago. And he said it was maybe 2 days afterwards that he couldn't lift his kids. So that was the only after effects for him. Now they do take peripheral stem cells, and they give you a drug to stimulate your cells, and a lot of centers take it that way, but it really is up to the donor center. The donor doesn't have to travel. The patient that's receiving the transplant, that like Strong would go to wherever the donor is, pick up the marrow and bring it back. So the donor doesn't have to travel.
Okay, that's interesting. Is it painful? I mean, considering you're saving someone's life, I think most of us would be willing to go through a little bit of pain.
Yes. Chris's donor, I can describe how he describes it. He said it felt like somebody kicked him in the back for 2 days afterwards, and that was the only pain that he received.
I think most of us would do that if we knew we were saving somebody's life. And again, Christopher is alive today because he had this transplant. I got 1 minute left. Megan, this is her senior project. She's organizing everything. Real quickly, people want to come out. They come out between when and when?
11 to 3 on Saturday and Sunday this weekend.
To Thomas High School.
To Thomas.
Which is right off 5 Mile Line Road, right off of 104. And Cindy Fuller is one of the people who's trained to do this. And so I would answer a bunch of questions, and you wouldn't ask them to me. This is all confidential, right? I would answer, it's the kind of question you've seen on medical forms before. Are you between 18 and 16? Are you in general good health? Are you at risk for HIV or hepatitis? This kind of thing. And after that, after you answer these questions for about 10 minutes, then you get the cotton swab. Right. And you told me earlier it does not go in my ear.
That's right.
The side of my cheek?
Side of your cheek.
That's it. Just like this.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then you go the other side.
Uh-huh. I'm done?
Yep.
That's it.
That's it.
All right, and now the potential is there because I think it's that, 7 out of 10 people who need a transplant can't find a match in their own family. So they have to go to this registry, and that's where they're most likely to find that life-saving help.
Correct, and that's why this is what we do. We try to get as many people in the registry as we can so that someone can find that match.
It costs $52, but it will not cost you anything if you come out this weekend because Christopher's Challenge is paying the $52 fee, and they're also going to be raffling off those Boston Celtics tickets. You can buy raffle tickets to go see tickets for 4 people to go to a Boston Celtics game coming up. Those are impossible tickets to get, but they've got them this weekend. 11 to 3 at Thomas High School tomorrow and Sunday. Christopher's Challenge, Bone Marrow Drive.
They have made it so easy for somebody to come and save a life and have fun at the same time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doug.
Thanks, Doug, and thanks to the family for being there. They're great people.
You're watching 13 Wham News this morning on Rochester's CW with Doug Embledge, Norma Holland, Holly Maynard, Evan Dawson, and meteorologist Marty Snyder. 13 Wham News, your breaking news and weather authority.
All right, time to get back to Doug now, and he is... What's the matter? It's a Friday.
It's just working with Norma on a Friday, that's all.
Well, I can barely speak.
Go ahead, Norma.
Doug's been with a great group of people this morning. They're trying to get people to come out this weekend for a really important bone marrow drive, and it's something that you can take part in.
Take a look.
There's a basketball tournament going on in Webster this weekend. It's a youth basketball tournament. We have some volunteers out this morning kind of providing the energy for us. But more important than the tournament itself is what's going on around it. It is a bone marrow registry drive. And I know I'm always saying they're registering potential bone marrow donors and raising money for Christopher's Challenge, which is all about helping that registry grow. And Kathy Costello, right here, you're Christopher's mom.
Yes.
And tell me about Christopher's Challenge and why the work continues all these years later.
Well, Chris had a bone marrow transplant when he was 10 years old, and then after he had his transplant, actually the community raised a lot of money to start Christopher's Challenge. So we started Christopher's Challenge to pay for people to be typed to be put in the National Marrow Donor Registry.
So you eliminate that obstacle. To become a donor, you don't have to pay the $52. You just show up, answer some questions, and get the cheek swab. That's
yes,
it, right?
And agree to be a committed donor. Yes.
And the potential is there that you go through that simple process, that down the road you're going to save a stranger's life. Right?
Absolutely. You're going to have the power to save someone's life by being entered into the registry.
Now, Christopher, your son was diagnosed when he was 8 years old, which was 12 years ago now, right?
Yes.
And because he had a relapse of his leukemia, a transplant was his only lifesaver.
Yes, a transplant, usually when you relapse from acute leukemia, is your only second chance at life if you have a donor in that registry. His sibling was not a match, so his only options was to get a donor.
And they say 7 out of 10 people in that situation do need to go outside the family.
Correct.
Yeah, that's so important. And he, by the way, now a student at St. John Fisher
Yes,
College.
20 years old now.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, Megan Haskins is a senior here at Thomas. This whole thing this weekend is her senior project. So what's going on? People can come out and they can get on the registry, they can watch some basketball, and maybe win some Boston Celtics tickets?
Yep. There is a bone marrow drive right here, along with the basketball tournament and a silent auction.
And you've been working on this for months and months and months, and it
Yes.
all happens this weekend. You've got to be so excited about it.
I am. I'll be very relieved.
And the potential is there that someone who's going to come out this weekend and get registered will end up saving someone's life down the road.
Yeah.
That's pretty important stuff.
Yeah, it's very important. It's a good cause.
Congratulations on your senior project. I've been kidding her all morning that if it doesn't work out, she's not going to graduate. I talked to the principal. She's doing fine. Although he said he'd like to have you around for another year. Yeah. Cindy Fuller is a cancer survivor and a friend of Megan's and a friend of the Costello family. And you've been a volunteer with Christopher's Challenge for a long, long time. But then what happened a year ago to you? Was it a year ago that you were diagnosed?
It was in April. I was diagnosed with early stage ovarian cancer.
My goodness. Now, is a stem cell, is a bone marrow transplant a possibility in this
not for
situation?
me.
But
No.
still, you can kind of more relate to the whole big picture.
I never
about
thought
it.
I would relate, but now I have that. I had to take myself off of the registry because I am a cancer survivor, but so now I volunteer in other ways.
Tell me about the process of registering to be a donor.
It's a 10-minute, takes about 10 minutes to fill out the medical history, and then it's about a minute to do the swab in your mouth.
It's so important to emphasize that Christopher's Challenge is paying the bill.
Yes.
So if you come out to Webster this weekend, you don't have to pay anything. You just have
No.
to go through that 10-minute process.
Just the process, and that's it. We'll take care of the rest.
How many do you hope to sign up this weekend, do you think? What's a good weekend?
Well, we've been saying, one more than we had last year could save a life, but we'd like to get as many as we can.
Sure you would. All right. Excellent work. Thank you so
you.
much. Best of luck on graduate. What's up for you next year, do you think?
I'm looking at Mercyhurst.
Okay, down near Erie, Pennsylvania.
Yep.
All right. Well, we wish you all the best. Thank you all for coming out. Thanks, basketball players, for being our energy this morning. Christopher's Challenge this weekend, and give me the hours again.
11 to 3.
11 to 3 on Saturday and Sunday at Thomas High School.
Finally tonight, our Bright Spot shines on a weekend challenge to help save lives. Part of it is a basketball tournament this weekend at Webster Thomas High to raise funds for Christopher's Challenge to finance bone marrow testing. Christopher Costello's life was saved through a bone marrow transplant. The other part is a bone marrow drive to get potential donors.
It's so easy for someone to just come get tested. It's not a huge process or whatever. So just getting your mouth swabbed and trying to be put on the registry can help save someone's life.
Megan is very committed to the cause. And not even knowing Chris yet, Chris is a Thomas graduate as well, and she's doing a great job.
Megan has also been inspired by a volunteer with Christopher's Challenge who has had her own cancer fight.
It's been a rough, a hard road for me, but I'm going to be okay, they tell me, and this weekend it makes a real difference to me this weekend especially.
It makes me feel good after seeing everything that Cindy went through and how close we are with her and just how it was always up and down and everything. I wanted to do something to give back and try and help people out, so it's a good feeling.
So tonight, our Bright Spot shines on Megan Haskins and the good feeling she gets from giving back. All right.
Down the shot. Good for her. Cold night dropping through the teens.
Sabres highlights.
More at 11.